And so bad. But I can't, it's like I'm afraid to even release him.
Over the last year in Richmond County alone, there have been at least 44 homicides, almost all of them shootings. 70% of the victims were male.
Everybody is not raised in a home that is structured. So you can't say it starts in the home. It starts in the community.
These numbers are the driving force behind starting her nonprofit.
The foundation is not totally based on gun violence. We're based on trade skills. We are revamping and looking at other things that we can offer them.
Renza is preparing for her second annual Guns Down, Shoot for Success, connecting young people with jobs and resources other than guns. Something she is hoping will be more than just a once-a-year thing.
We'll have speakers to come in. We'll have counselors, social workers,
as well as a place where people can drop off weapons.
No ties. Bring guns and ammunition in, and we won't ask you any questions. Just safely put it in the box.
In pursuit of a better and safer Augusta.
We just have to get out and speak to people and teach them, because when you know better, you do better. But if your whole family is doing the same thing that you're doing, you don't see anything wrong with it until it's too late.
And Guns Down, Shoot for Success is happening sometime in September. We'll keep you posted on the date and the time when it's firm.
All right, thanks for that, Hallie. New this morning, a suspect wanted in connection to a Burke County shooting has now been arrested. Deputies say Micaiah Anthony was arrested for the shooting that hurt one person Saturday night on Claxton Road, just outside of Girard. Anthony is facing charges including aggravated assault. And Aiken County deputies, hang on. There we go. Aiken County deputies had to use a stun gun on a Warrenville man before they could arrest him. They say he was holding a woman captive. Deputies arrested Brent Hires on Friday at a home on Birch Street. When deputies got to the home, they found him holding a woman who, at what appeared to be a knife point. Deputies say the weapon ended up being a screwdriver. He was arrested and charged with kidnapping, attempted murder, and assaulting an officer. Some alarming stats when it comes to housing in Richmond County. Housing Urban Development says there are more than 5,000 people waiting for affordable housing. 1,000 more are on a waiting list for Section 8 housing. As we work to bring you solutions, a new development called the Lennox Project could help bring those numbers down by giving people a home they can afford. Alyssa Lyons spoke with city leaders about these much-needed options.
Take a look around me right now. It doesn't look like anything, nothing at all, just ground. And that's why commissioners and the Housing Authority are ready to put it to use and build a home.
Not having the right type of housing invites a certain lifestyle that I don't want to be a part of.
Joanne Saunders has lived here for 30 years. While time has passed just as fast as the cars on Laney Walker Boulevard, the lack of affordable housing has pretty much stayed the same.
Augusta has about a 24 to 25% poverty rate. We have to deliver on affordable housing, and like we should have delivered on it yesterday.
Because the options today are slim for the more than 6,000 on the waiting list.
The main one that comes to not only this area but all around, of course, is going to be public housing. It's going to be Section 8.
Certainly you can find them in South Augusta.
But here, downtown,
I haven't seen any affordable housing. A lot of houses up for sale, a lot of dilapidated houses, but no affordable housing.
The 64-unit Lennox will serve people in the area making 80% of the median income.
For the county itself, is around 40 grand. But when you move into certain sides of our city, that decreases. And I know in this district is somewhat lower than that.
Another notch on what they really want this area to eventually be. Plans for tiny homes are still in the early stages, but a low-income development for residents 62 and older has been given a full recommendation to commission.
I plan to be here for a long time, and I want to see it grow. I want my grandchildren to have a place to come to. I want a place that calls home. I want people to be able to come to Augusta and not see a sore site, not see an eyesore on Laney Walker.
It's our responsibility to make sure that people have somewhere safe and affordable to live. That's no one else's responsibility but ours.
Now this place will not only be a home, but a place for small businesses. 4,000 square feet on the bottom floor will be used for commercial space. They say that they hope to get the project ready to go by the end of this year.
Okay, thanks for that, Alyssa. Augusta University continuing its growing partnership with the community. Yesterday, it announced a new program with Savannah River National Lab focused on the next generation of cybersecurity. Our Will Rio explains the goal is to benefit students as well as the economy.
The Georgia Cyber Center continues to grow and expand through community partnerships. Now, this newest deal with SRNL is to ensure that there's a steady workforce with our local cybersecurity industry. As ink hit paper, our cybersecurity workforce becomes that much stronger.
Wouldn't be here without it. I absolutely wouldn't be here without it.
Jacqueline Brigideau is from Aiken and went through AU's cyber program. She stayed local and works as the chief of staff for global security at Savannah River National Laboratory.
These huge hubs of national security are here, and I think that we owe it to our peers and our family and friends to put our minds into that for everyone around.
That's the goal, to create a pipeline from our local universities to our local businesses.
We've found over and again that if you're bringing people from the outside, they might stick with you for 3 to 5 years. But having people who are rooted in the community, who have extended family within the community is really important to us.
This partnership will focus on 3 areas: workforce development, research and technology development, and global security issues.
It's definitely a win for us. Will help us continue to grow and I think increase our national prominence in the area as well.
Those areas are crucial to protecting not only our region, state, and nation, but the world.
Part of me, safety is my favorite feeling in the world, and I think that it's a human right, or it's something that we all deserve, and there's no better way to give back to the people than securing our nation.
In Augusta, Will Rio on your side.
We're getting a first look at what the new AU Health Hospital will look like in Columbia County. It's expected to break ground early this summer. These are some new sketches on what they hope it'll look like. You can see the site plans include the exterior, reception area, hospital rooms, and green spaces. The details are even nailed down to the fabric swatches and color palettes. The 100-bed hospital and medical office will be 240,000 square feet with a level 2 trauma ER. People who live in Grimaud Place in Columbia County are still fighting to stop a rezoning request for a radio station in their neighborhood. The Planning Commission okayed that rezoning. Tonight, the full commission votes on the controversial topic. Our Nick Veland spoke with neighbors who say they are not backing down.
Neighbors are still fighting a rezoning request with fears for what might happen to the Grimaud Place neighborhood.
Safety, traffic coming through here, and another thing is the devaluation of our property. I just can't help but think, people wouldn't want to buy somewhere knowing it's going to be a thoroughfare for somebody's business behind the neighborhood.
Final say will be at the commission meeting tomorrow night.
I'm apprehensive, but, I'm still trying to stay positive.
If approved, Mark Baranowski will be allowed to expand his uses on the site and allow for up to 10 employees. The Planning Commission approved his request, moving to the full commission where the 5 commissioners will have the final say.
It's kind of disappointing when all 30 residents stuck together and signed that petition and they ruled in favor of one person, and it just didn't seem fair.
What's in the air is a modified request as an attempt to appease the neighbors. If approved, Baranowski would only be able to do these services in the future on the property, which is 10 fewer items than originally asked for. Even with the fewer uses, neighbors still don't want to see this request go through.
Well, not really. Some of them felt a little bit better, but, like we said, majority of people don't want the S1 period.
In Columbia County, Nick Veland on your side.
Baranowski declined our request for comment, but commissioners will be available after the meeting tonight to talk about the whole thing and to talk to us, and we will be there and bring you the latest. Some good news for your wallet if you live in Georgia. Governor Brian Kemp announced the first round of surplus tax refund checks have been sent out. Now, you had to have paid and filed taxes for the past 2 years to get the refund. Single filers can get up to $250. Head of household filers can get $375, and married filing jointly couples can get a maximum of $500. So be on the lookout for those in the next couple weeks. This month, Costco and the Children's Hospital of Georgia are making donations for local kids in our area easier than ever. After you're done shopping, you can donate as much or as little as you want. Arzana Halliburton looks at how your dollars can make all the difference for a kid in your community.
Costco shoppers, this one's for you. During the month of May, checking out will look a little different. That's because the store is looking to raise as much money possible for the Children's Hospital of Georgia.
The biggest thing is that it stays local. It helps local children in need here. It goes to the local hospital. So it supports the community. We love to support the community in any way that we can. and this is a big part of it for us.
Whether you're shopping online or in person, you will be asked if you would like to donate to the Children's Miracle Network. That money goes straight to the Children's Hospital here at home. Costco manager Chris Kaiser says they've even taken trips to spend time with the kids at the hospital.
It's always been a huge focus of Costco, just as a company, but also Augusta in general, just to keep it in our own hometown, to keep it with the people that, you know, mean the most, the kids that we see in here every day.
The Costco in Augusta and the Pooler location near Savannah have raised just over $500,000 for the Children's Hospital of Georgia since 2012.
Well, it means a lot to me personally because I've experienced friends and family members that have needed the help, as I'm sure we all have in some way.
If you make a donation at one of two of those locations, 100% of donations go right back to kids.
Whether it is a new bed for our NICU or our Child Life program and our facility dogs, those are making a difference for kids directly, and we couldn't fund those things if it weren't for partnerships like Costco.
Throughout the month, you can find employees taking part in different activities to help raise money, such as dressing up in different colors and themes to help push the campaign. No matter how big or how small of an amount you choose to donate, it all makes a difference.
I would say to put yourself in that perspective. If you're a parent of any kid, you know, you would need that help too. So if $1 isn't going to break you, give as much as you can.
Reporting in Augusta, Zana Halliburton on your side.
And for 36 years, Costco and its members have raised more than $500 million for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. You have the whole month from now until May 31st to donate. You have to do it at a checkout, either in person or online. 100% of the donations go straight to the Children's Hospital of Georgia. Important to note, too, it's got to be a local Costco here in order to do that for that donation. A Richmond County Sheriff's Office investigator is behind bars after being arrested for a domestic incident. Deputies say on Wednesday, investigator Jonathan Mathis got into a domestic dispute with his wife at their home. Then Friday, he resigned from his job, and Monday, he turned himself in. Mathis has been charged with simple battery family violence. Grovetown Councilwoman Dr. Deborah Fisher is launching her campaign to run for mayor. Fisher has served on city council for about 5 years now, and her campaign calls her an agent of positive social change. This election will be in November. She is running against current mayor Gary Jones. In North Augusta, newly elected city council members Kevin Toole, Eric Presnell, and David Buck were sworn into office yesterday evening. Toole and Presnell both returning as incumbents, and then David Buck, the newcomer, getting sworn in as well. It's the next step in getting Plant Vogel's fourth and final nuclear reactor up and running. Georgia Power has just completed what they call hot functional testing for Unit 4 at the nuclear power plant. That means they achieved normal operating pressure and temperature without having an actual nuclear fuel in the reactor. And that marks a significant step. Unit 4 should be online by the first quarter of 2024.
So we think it's time for us to have a toast. Let's have a toast for the nurses. Let's have a toast for the kids at home. Let's have a toast for the teachers. Every one of them that we know. Let's have a toast for the doctors. Oh, we never taking work off. Baby, I got a plan. Stay inside while you can.
Listening to a snippet here from 3 med students from the Medical College of Georgia who won first place in a national competition with their video honoring COVID frontline workers. The video is called Stay Inside, A Toast to the Frontline, was the top winner at the 2023 MEMES, which was hosted by the University of South Carolina School of Medicine. The winners also got $1,500, which will go to the Augusta University Greenblatt Library, and they'll place a plaque in the library recognizing that video. A little bit of a spoof on old Kanye there too. Someone in Augusta has won more than $1.5 million in the lottery. The Georgia Lottery says there was one Fantasy 5 jackpot winner in last week's drawing, and that person won $1.71 million at a ticket they got on Junior Food Store on Peach Orchard Road. So if that was you, make sure you go get your money. I feel like a lot of people have been winning the lottery around here. Not like the big one, but you know, $1 million here, a couple $100,000 there, a couple $10,000 there. Pretty hot spot for winning the lottery out here, I guess. Speaking of hot spots, Starting now, Georgia is under a burn ban. You're asked not to burn yard debris during the summer because of how it impacts the air quality. If you're caught under this ban, you could face up to $1,000 in fines and a year in jail. This ban will end on September 30th. In Georgia, one lawmaker is pushing for transparency and accountability when it comes to companies using PFAS, which is also known as the forever chemical because it takes so long to break down. Our State House reporter Abby Casares has the details.
Transparency and accountability. That's what one state lawmaker would like to see for companies that use PFAS. They're called the forever chemical because they can take forever to break down. Representative Kim Schofield is sponsoring 3 pieces of legislation regarding the toxic chemical known as PFAS, which stands for polyfluorooctyl. Studies have found higher concentrations of PFAS in waterways, makeup, and recent studies claim PFAS has been found in feminine hygiene products. The CDC links PFAS exposure to cancer, infertility, birth defects, and cholesterol. One bill suggests an all-out ban on feminine hygiene products containing chemicals from being sold in the state. The Menstrual Product Transparency Act would require disclosures of ingredients on menstrual products. The Safer States Act would ban all products with toxic chemicals, including certain flame retardants, like those used by fire departments.
This is a serious problem when we don't recognize that the basic things that we've used over the years, the brands that we've come to love and depend on, are not being as transparent as we need them to be. And this is not just off in brands, these are off brands, and what we find is that we do have options.
Schofield presented these bills last session, but they were never called up for a vote, which means they're still alive for this next session. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casares.
All right, thanks for that, Abby. Let's keep it in the Atlanta area now. A 5th grader in Cobb County is making an impact since the pandemic. Some children have struggled with anxiety and depression. An accomplished young author named Takari Tatum wants everyone to know they are not alone.
Children look up to him so much.
Impact isn't about age. What's happening inside Varner Elementary is proof.
They're so incredibly proud.
Takari Tatum is 11. His latest project will soon be part of the school library.
Hi, Takari.
His Snap It bracelets are already part of the school culture, taking on mental health openly.
Anytime you feel stressed or anxious, you just snap it.
His book about them is about to be released.
Seeing it all come together was like such a surreal experience.
Tell me about the inspiration for the book.
I was really just thinking about all the stuff that happened in my life with my mental health journey and just putting those words on the paper.
Takari's best friend, his grandfather, died in the pandemic. Takari saw so many of his friends struggling too.
The book is an extension of telling people that mental health matters, and it's a serious thing that almost everybody goes through.
I just can't even put it in words how proud I am of him.
Takari wrote this book in 1 week.
Yeah, right.
Of course he did.
He was like taking dictation. It's like God was just giving him the words.
Just amazing me more every day.
Mrs. Lori Mendenhall supported every step. Now retired art teacher Robin Glover illustrated his book.
So honored and so privileged.
I'm super proud of him.
Principal Althea Singletar sees the reach of Takari's impact.
For students to see that you can have a great idea and you see it through and all kinds of wonderful things can happen.
I hope kids who read the book feel that they're not alone.
A message that's made a difference for his dad, too.
He just does not know how big of an impact this has made.
Incredible stuff there. You can see how many people are just so proud of him and inspired by that book there, and I think everybody can relate to it no matter what age you are. Well, as we near the coronation of King Charles III, a military veteran from Georgia is remembering the time he saw the last coronation of Queen Elizabeth II back in 1953. The images may have faded, but Max Hancock's memories of Britain's last coronation are still very sharp. He was 19 years old when he was stationed in England with the Air Force during that historic day.
And it was packed with people. There was 1 million+ people. Seeing that parade, seeing the enthusiasm, I knew I was seeing something special.
Not only was that a major moment for everybody watching, it was an even bigger one for Prince Charles himself, who was just 4 at the time. Now, 7 decades later, he'll be crowned king. The ceremony is going to be this Saturday, May 6th, starting at 5 a.m. An ex-police officer accused of killing a teenager and dumping her naked body in the woods was denied bond yesterday. A Gwinnett County Superior Court judge made the call, citing the suspect, former Doraville officer Miles Bryant, as a danger to the community. 16-year-old Susanna Morales was reported missing last July. Her body found in February 20 miles away in the woods. A weapon was found near her body, the same weapon then Officer Bryant reported as missing in July. Now Bryant will stay in jail, where he faces charges of murder, kidnapping, and false report of a crime. Economic development is the top priority for South Carolina's Speaker of the House as South Carolina's legislative session ends next week, capping Merle Smith's first as Speaker. State House reporter Mary Green sat down with Smith to talk about how far he's gotten towards that goal and what work is still left to do.
I think we're really poised to continue this momentum we've had in economic development, and our number one priority is to create jobs for South Carolinians.
To fill the thousands of new jobs expected in the coming years, Speaker of the House Merle Smith says South Carolina needs to rev up its workforce. The House of Representatives passed 2 workforce development bills in the last few months. One to consolidate all statewide efforts in this arena under one agency, and the other to ensure students are prepared for college or a career when they graduate high school.
As we work through this process and we continue to have companies locate here and want to locate here, we need to make sure that we meet the needs of the workforce, not only for today, but for the future.
Another bill passed in the House would give job development tax credits to companies that establish headquarters in South Carolina for certain industries. In the budget, money is set aside to expand workforce scholarships and to start an apprenticeship and internship pilot program for college students. And another $200 million would go to the State Department of Commerce to purchase and develop shovel-ready mega sites for companies looking to build here. It's an approach Smith says has already paid off in Richland County, where Scout Motors quickly moved in on a shovel-ready site to build a new plant, and in other states.
You look at what North Carolina did over the past few years. They invested into mega sites, and then they've had a lot of success of locating expansive industries and new technology industries as a result of having shovel-ready sites.
Smith says the state is especially focused on bringing more of these investments and jobs to rural counties.
Right now there's a lot of interest, so I think we're really poised to continue this momentum.
Much of this came out of the work done by an ad hoc economic development committee that Speaker Smith formed last fall. Looking ahead to next year, Smith says he wants to see more done to address child care and transportation needs for workers, as well as utility modernization. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
All right, thanks for that, Mary. Some sad news here out of the coast. Just hours after a wedding, a woman was killed and her husband severely injured over the weekend in Charleston. This happened Friday night when a car rear-ended a golf cart. The bride, who had been identified as Samantha Miller, has just gotten married earlier that evening, and the owners of the golf cart were taking the newlyweds back to their rental house before they got hit.
She, from the moment she woke up that day until she left the venue, she told Eric on the golf cart that she wanted this day to last forever. He told us that at the hospital today when we saw him.
Police say they've identified and arrested the driver, Jamie Komorowski, who has been charged with 3 counts of DUI, causing serious bodily injury or death, and 1 count of reckless homicide. A new application aims to streamline the process of applying for a number of early childhood programs in South Carolina. First 5 South Carolina is a website that connects South Carolinians to public programs and services for kids up to 5 years old.
Instead of wondering what's available, wasting time and energy, having to take off work, now families can apply for all of these programs at a time that's convenient to them online, either from their home or from their local library.
Officials say they hope this will help break down barriers that some families have from accessing the services they need to thrive. It's Hurricane Preparedness Week. Now through Saturday, everyone's being encouraged to take simple steps to make sure they're ready for hurricane season. As we all know, you don't have to live on the coast to feel the impact. Hurricane season officially starts June 1st in South Carolina. Isle of Palms police say people should have 3 days worth of non-perishable food and water. Remember your medications too, and make sure you've got all your paperwork in order.
Check on your insurance documents, stuff like that, make sure that's up to date. Those are the things that we just kind of put on auto pay and we don't really check on them. Now's a great time to make sure your policies are up to date and everything's looking good for this season.
Hurricanes last year in Florida and Puerto Rico caused extensive damage, and some communities are still recovering. So you definitely want to make sure you are prepared should we see another bad season this year. Drought, hurricanes, and heavy rain have hurt farms all around the world, and now you're paying for it at the grocery store. Christian Benavidez explains.
So see how easy that came off? And see how that sort of got a little decay in it there?
Earlier this year, we talked to John Barvin, a fourth-generation farmer in Florida, where storms and crop disease have led to a shortage of oranges.
The trees have started dropping fruit prematurely, and the quality of the juice is starting to decline.
That is pushing prices for orange juice higher. In India, rain hurt sugarcane crops, sending sugar futures soaring. Floods earlier this year in California's Salad Bowl devastated all kinds of crops, from lettuce to strawberries, and now produce costs more.
Is this sort of the new normal with these climate events that are happening worldwide?
Sadly, yes. So I think this is the unfortunate, harsh reality of today's world.
Professor Patrick Penfield is a supply chain expert at Syracuse University. He says crop issues in the Midwest led to higher feed costs for ranchers, and many are now raising fewer cattle.
Now you're going to start seeing, meat supply come down.
However, extreme weather may have provided one benefit. All that rain in California that damaged crops also helped fill the state's reservoirs, running low after years of drought.
And now the farmers in the next planting season will be able to tap that water.
And that should help bring produce prices back down later this year. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Miami.
President Biden will be focusing on small business as he faces economic headwinds, including bank stress, tighter lending conditions, and the looming debt ceiling deadline. With the 2024 presidential race taking shape, pressures mounting to resolve these and other issues that could have a major impact on how voters cast their ballots. NBC's Alice Barr reports from Washington.
Amid fresh concerns about the health of the nation's economy, President Biden today addressing the third major bank collapse in less than 2 months. First Republic Bank has been taken over by federal regulators, set to be sold to J.P. Morgan.
While depositors are being protected, shareholders are losing their investments. And critically, taxpayers are not the ones that are on the hook.
Adding to the economic anxiety, the looming fight over raising the debt limit to avoid a catastrophic default. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy pressing President Biden to negotiate after House Republicans passed a debt limit deal that includes massive spending cuts.
We will not pass a debt ceiling that just raises it without doing something about our debt.
The president firing back.
We pay our bills, and we should do so without reckless hostage taking from some of the mega Republicans in Congress.
With the state of the economy already shaping the 2024 race for the White House, the Republican frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, in Scotland opening a new golf course at his resort, while vowing Make America Great Again is on his mind. Also swirling around him a host of legal challenges, including a civil rape and defamation lawsuit underway in New York. A judge today denying the Trump team's bid for a mistrial. Likely GOP rival Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in an escalating legal fight of his own with one of his state's largest employers, Disney. A board of supervisors DeSantis picked now countersuing Disney after the company alleged a campaign of political retaliation.
President Biden called on Congress to tighten regulations to prevent any other collapses. There is a multiple agency manhunt for the suspect responsible for one of the nation's latest mass shootings. Police say a man in Cleveland, Texas, killed 5 of his neighbors Friday night with an AR-style rifle. Janet Shamlian says several reported sightings have left law enforcement empty-handed.
Tonight, deputies and FBI agents widening their search for the suspect as the manhunt pushes into a third day. The FBI at its latest briefing saying Francisco Oropesa remains elusive.
We do not know where he is. We don't have any tips right now to where he may be.
The 38-year-old, a Mexican national who was deported and subsequently returned to the U.S. 4 times over the past 14 years, is accused of killing 5 people in a neighbor's home with an AR-15 style rifle after they asked him to stop shooting a gun in his yard because a baby was sleeping. Wilson Garcia's wife and 9-year-old son were killed in the attack. He says she stayed on the front porch as they saw the gunman approaching, believing he wouldn't shoot a woman. Garcia says he fired at her without saying a word and then came inside to find us all. Garcia says they made several calls to 911 before the gunman entered the house. The dispatcher, he says, kept saying help was on the way. The victims from Honduras range in age from 31 to just 9 years old. Daniel Enrique Lasso.
My heart is with this little boy. I don't care if he was here legally. I don't care if he was here illegally. He was in my county. 5 people died in my county, and that is where my heart is.
Wilson Garcia says he likely survived because another woman in the house at the time told him to go out the window because his kids needed a father. 7 bodies were discovered inside a home in Oklahoma. The investigation started after an endangered alert was issued for 2 missing teens. The teens were last seen around 1:30 in the morning in the town of Henrietta. Authorities have not yet released the names of the 7 victims, and they're not saying how the victims died. In Los Angeles, the drama builds over a writer's strike that happened as of last night, officially at midnight. That strike went into effect. Miguel Amagura tells us if they, this is before this happened, if they didn't reach an agreement between the Writers Guild of America and the production companies they work for, some of your favorite TV shows could be impacted.
Roll sound. Tonight's suspenseful Hollywood drama unfolding behind the scenes has come down to the wire, with just hours left for the Writers Guild of America to reach a deal with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents studios. At odds over streaming residuals, higher pay, and consolidated jobs, the men and women who write for your favorite television shows and movies are set to walk off the job at midnight.
Nobody wants a strike, but they have to meet us. They have to meet. We're not asking for much. We're asking for just a livable wage and for our jobs to be protected and for us to make residuals on the content we're creating. If we don't stand up to these bullies, we're going to just keep getting bullied our whole lives and nothing's going to change.
If pencils go down and picket signs go up, we could see a sequel to the 2007-2008 strike that lasted 100 days, cost an estimated $3 billion, and abruptly cut into show production.
If a strike begins this week, the first thing that viewers at home will notice that their favorite late night shows will go into reruns. If there is a strike, the longer it goes, the more significant the impact, because nothing happens without a script.
A shutdown trickles down well beyond writers. Production, props, even craft service teams would be locked out. That's tens of thousands of jobs. With negotiations still underway, the studio reps say its priority is the long-term health and stability of the industry. Tonight, the clock is ticking on this real-life Hollywood cliffhanger.
And it did strike midnight, and we do have that strike now officially happening. The movie industry brought $4.4 billion into Georgia last year, so that could take a hit depending on how long this strike lasts. Computers getting a stronger grip on the working world, so much that a new report says they could play a significantly larger role in future jobs. A report published Sunday by the World Economic Forum says 14 million jobs will disappear in the next 5 years as more companies adopt advanced technologies like artificial intelligence.
This could potentially save time and resources, but it could also lead to a loss of personal connections and a decline in the quality of these types of interactions.
The WEF also says among the 3 fastest growing jobs are AI and machine learning specialists, sustainability specialists, and business intelligence analysts. The fastest declining jobs are secretarial roles, including bank tellers, cashiers, and data entry clerks. The U.S. COVID-19 public health emergency ends this month. What that means for you: free COVID-19 tests are not guaranteed after May 11th. Some costs may become out of pocket. There are still ways to take advantage of the benefits of the public health emergency before it expires. Pharmacies and other retailers have home tests, and costs may be covered up front or reimbursed by insurance plans. COVIDtests.gov allows you to order free test kits for delivery. The Food and Drug Administration has also extended the expiration date for many home tests beyond what's just on the box. So be sure to check out your their website before throwing out the tests that you may still have lying around the house. All right, how about some fun stuff here? How do you get your husband's attention? Well, wives at the 2023 Pickens Azalea Festival in Pickens, South Carolina, put their skills to the test during the husband hollering competition. Anissa Snipes shows us this unusual event.
Tommy, 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 Tommy! No more golf for you! Sam! Sam, yo!
It's safe to say these women don't need a microphone to get their husband's attention.
I thought it was pretty good. I'm loud. I'm definitely loud.
Each wife had their own technique, whether it was yodeling,
Yodeling, yodeling, yodeling.
or the promise of a kiss.
Ron, come give me a little kiss.
These men came running.
Good grief, I know what'll get him. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy. Woo! There's my big boy.
But there was one performance that could not be ignored.
Tommy, Tommy, your mom's calling. Tommy. Tommy! Tommy, 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 Tommy! No more golf for you! Tommy! Tommy, Tommy, Tommy!
With a baby on her hip, Sarah Farrow did what she's done so many times before and hollered for her husband.
Did you hear me, Tommy?
I'm all the time screaming for my husband. I got 3 kids at home, and you know, when I'm ready for him to come help me out, I'm screaming his name.
And after practicing all week, Sarah's hard work paid off. She took home the top prize and, of course, her husband.
With your, you know. Tommy! Yeah!
If you know Tommy, pour one out for the boy. He's got it rough out there. Okay. The festival had a mustache competition, a pie eating contest, and a hot dog eating contest as well. But of course, that husband calling contest took the stage. All right. A nonprofit in South Carolina is working to support those with disabilities, one friendship at a time. Zach Purletsky has this heartwarming story from the first ever Best Buddies Friendship Walk.
If they had Best Buddies back in high school, I would quickly say yes.
A Clemson life grad, McEver Thomas knew he had to be involved with Best Buddies when it came to South Carolina last year.
Get the word out, to spread the word and have that accountability to help our community grow with our Best Buddies and the disability community.
On a sunny Sunday, dozens walked at Conisty Park to raise more than $25,000 during the Friendship Walk. All the money raised from the Friendship Walk will go to help support the Friendship Program for Best Buddies here in South Carolina. There's already 12 chapters and around 3,000 students in the program. The Friendship Program helps partner someone with IDD and someone without at schools and colleges.
People think that they're different, but really the common ground can be found in the one-to-one friendships, and it just brings awareness and empathy and love between people that are friends.
Jacob and Christy McBride are leading CC's Tribe, which raised $6,000.
She's an amazing little child.
She has an amazing soul. She's going to be an amazing young woman.
CC was born with Down syndrome and now could have the Friendship Program available to her when she is old enough.
We want her to feel not like she's, segmented or a separate group, right? She's included in every activity or any activity that she wants to do, right? She told me one time she wants to be a pitcher for Clemson softball.
Through each step and every donation, Best Buddies in South Carolina is making sure everyone feels included.
Love that idea there. And Best Buddies is a worldwide organization with more than 3,000 chapters, and it's helped more than 1.3 million people with disabilities. Okay, moving on here. A man suffered third-degree burns when his vape pen exploded in his pocket. Susan Campbell has his story and what you need to know if you vape.
It really was a terrifying situation. He said there was no warning. All of a sudden, he felt the explosion in his pocket. He didn't have a way to put out the fire, so he grabbed an ice cream cone that had flown out of his hand to try to pat out the flames and cool the burn.
There's a melted coin.
Jason Stein was wearing these jeans when he says his vape exploded in his back pocket.
It was like when you light off a flare, it was kind of, and it was my pants on fire.
Jason was driving when it happened. You can see his key fob scorched by the flames.
It was just instantaneous from 0 to 1,000.
The FDA says vape explosions are rare, but they do happen. According to one study from 2015 through 2017, there were 2,035 ER visits for e-cigarette explosion and burn injuries.
Of course, the minute you have battery-operated products, there is definitely an elevated risk.
Ashita Kapoor is the Associate Director of Product Safety at Consumer Reports. She says investigations into safety issues are ongoing, but there are things vape users need to know now.
Number one, you want to make sure that you're not leaving this thing to charge for long periods of time. Number two, you want to definitely follow manufacturer's instructions for battery replacement, disposal of batteries as well, and not using different brands or using one new and one old. So you don't want to be doing any mixing when it comes to the batteries.
That's where the flames shot out.
Jason's burns are severe. The photos of his injuries are too graphic to share.
They took a graft off this leg, about that big, a chunk of skin, to put a graft on my, so I've got an injury right here, a small one right there, and then the whole back of my leg is skin graft, so it's all hamburgered up.
How many staples, how many stitches are we talking about?
I believe there was 136 plus staples, and I'm not sure about the stitches.
A lot.
A lot. There's quite a few. Just sitting here talking to you, I'm an extreme amount of pain. Like, it's excruciating.
Jason has no idea what caused his vape to explode. He says it was fairly new, and he was using it properly.
I never thought that day when I was leaving that something like this was going to happen. Like, it never even crossed my mind. I want people to know, like, this is, like, happens.
And he'll always have the scars as a reminder.
Again, if you use a vape, only use the batteries that are recommended for your device. The FDA says you should also charge the device on a clean, flat surface away from flammable things like pillows and couches, and protect your vape from extreme temperatures. You never want to leave your vape in direct sunlight or in your car where it gets especially hot. I'm Susan Campbell.
Scary stuff there, but important information if you do have a vape, just kind of being aware of the risks there. Okay, whether you use Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, you probably hear the same songs and the same playlists all the time. If you're looking for new summer jams, our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker has the perfect smartphone app you've never heard of before.
Now, what's a summer party without music, right? But the problem with playing just your regular playlist is that the lyrics of your favorite songs are kind of a distraction when you're trying to talk to someone. Oh, this app called Pool Suite FM is a lot different. It's like having your own private DJ playing music just for summertime. Pool Suite FM is total nostalgia, total summer. The graphics are 90s at best, like you're looking at an old computer screen or the first cell phone you ever had. Lo-fi, chill jams from mostly independent artists who upload their tunes to SoundCloud. Like an old radio, there are only so many channels to choose from. Perfect background music for parties and for just working at the computer at home. Pool Suite is iPhone only right now, but an Android app is in development. You can also listen online at poolsuite.net. and also plays throwback videos that seem to fit perfectly with the tunes in summertime. The app is free. Will it be your go-to music app? Probably not, but it is a refreshing change of the dial. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Pool Suite FM is the app of the day.
There you go. If you're feeling a little different on a nice Tuesday afternoon, lounging out by the pool, toss one of those bad boys on. The creator of the app says he came up with the idea not at the beach or the pool, but actually on a rainy day in Scotland. So probably wishing he was at the beach or at the pool. Well, the American Cancer Society says more than 97,000 new melanoma cases are expected to be diagnosed this year, but there are ways to protect yourself. Mandy Gaither has a look at some ways to keep your skin safe.
It's one of the most common cancers in the U.S., but skin cancer is also one of the most preventable. While anyone can get melanoma, some risk factors make it more likely.
We think about age as a risk factor, skin color and hair color, so lighter skin and lighter hair, especially redheads, have an increased risk of melanoma.
Dermatologist Allison Larson with MedStar Health says other risk factors include sun exposure, whether it's short-term or long-term, especially when it leads to sunburns. Indoor tanning beds also increase risk, and so can family history and personal health history, as well as medications that suppress the immune system. The best way to lower the risk: protect your skin from the sun, whether that's through clothing or sunscreen. Larson recommends one that's at least 30 SPF or higher.
The brand, the type, honestly, it really doesn't matter as much as someone's willingness to use it and to reapply.
Larson says if possible, avoid the sun around midday when it's at its peak, and also keep an eye on your skin as early detection is critical.
And see if there's anything that looks irregular. See if there's anything that catches your eye because it has multiple colors, because it has a border that's shaped in an irregular way, maybe something larger than your other growths.
If something does stand out, Larson says that doesn't necessarily mean it's melanoma, but it's a good reason to see your doctor. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Moving on to sports now. It's an exciting week at Greenbrier High School as both the girls soccer team and the baseball team are looking for state titles. Dan Booth has a look at both teams and their success.
Between their undefeated girls soccer team advancing to the state championship and their baseball team having home field advantage through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, the second you step on Greenbrier's campus, you can feel the energy and the buzz of a community supporting their sports teams who are having a great deal of success right now. In a winner-go-home, season-deciding Game 3 against the Northside Patriots, the Greenbrier baseball team gave their fans something to cheer for after a bit of a slow start. Despite trailing for the first 3.5 innings, the Wolfpack offense exploded in the bottom of the 4th, scoring 6 runs to take the lead. They followed that up by scoring another 7 runs in the bottom of the 5th, increasing their lead to 10, securing the walk-off win because of the mercy rule, 15-5. The Wolfpack are going to the Class 5A State Elite 8 after some late-game heroics in front of their home fans.
I think it shows that we never give up. All of us, we're cheering each other on. There's never a moment in the dugout where it's dull. We're always pushing each other to be our best, and if we get behind, we're not the team to rely on to stay down. We're going to get back up.
It's been awesome to watch the girls soccer team do what they do. I think our whole baseball team was over there watching them the other day, and those girls were over here watching us. But this is a great community, and we have great support. And, when it gets to this time of the year, we know we're going to have a lot of people out here and pulling us through, and that's a big part of our tradition.
The 3rd round starts on Saturday for the Wolfpack as they prepare to take on the Cartersville Hurricane. As for the girls soccer team Coach Barnes alluded to, they'll be looking to complete a perfect season. They're 19-0 at the moment, looking to be 20-0 in the state championship game on Thursday night at 5 o'clock against the Chamblee Lady Bulldogs. That's it for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Also worth mentioning, we've got a couple other local teams competing in some deep playoff runs. Let's take a look here at the GHSA website. This is the 3A baseball state playoffs, and right here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is Harlem right here. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay, Harlem taking on Gordon Lee in the Elite 8. They're hosting, and Harlem has been dominant through the first 2 rounds, outscoring opponents 37-7, and they have not lost a game yet. Remember, these games are best 2 out of 3. And then, as Dan mentioned, Greenbrier going to be hosting Cartersville after winning that winner-take-all game there against Northside. Okay, and then girls soccer, we do have Greenbrier in the 5A state championship, but also in the single A Division II championship, Aquinas girls are taking on Towns County. They're actually doing their send-off this morning, so we'll have some video from that coming up a little bit later on in the day. But yeah, Aquinas outscored their opponents, quick math, 26-0 over 3 games. 26-0 in 3 games. That's very good. So good luck to all of our teams that are still in it. Also, I think the softball playoffs in South Carolina start up today. North Augusta is still in there. All right, let's finish off as we like to do here with Will Volk. It's that time of year again where snakes make their way into your yard. So the question is, what do you do when you see one? Our Will Volk is on your side with advice from the experts on the types you'll see in our area and what to do if you see one outside.
Mary Pruitt has a snake wrapped around her neck, and she doesn't mind.
Feels good, actually. It's nice and cool. And he's not squeezing.
She's studied snakes for years.
They're quite a passion of mine. That and they're misunderstood, so that makes me love them even more.
Pruitt says they get a bad reputation. When you see a snake slithering, you may think it wants to go after you, but she says it doesn't.
No snake is out there looking to attack a human. We don't have any snakes in Georgia that are big enough to eat a human, so it would be a waste of their energy to even try and come after you.
Pruitt says in our area, most of them are non-venomous.
I think it's important to remember that we have almost 50 species of snakes in Georgia alone, but only 6 of those are venomous.
But still, what if you encounter a snake and you're afraid?
Best thing to do is just leave them alone and go the other direction.
Pruitt told us you could try spraying it with a hose or calling a snake removal expert. But whatever you do, she says don't try killing it.
Trying to kill one puts yourself in danger of being bit, so better to just leave them alone.
And in the end, isn't that what we all want?
They want to be left alone, just as much as you want to be left alone.
In Columbia County, Will Volk, on your side.
Another reason not to kill them, it's actually illegal to kill non-venomous snakes in Georgia. So if you want to be able to tell the difference between the venomous ones and the non-venomous ones, Reed Creek Park is hosting a snake ID class on Saturday. We've got a link to more information up on our website, WRDW.com. We've also got more information on all of these stories up on our website. If you're watching this on the website, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app. You can do that on your Roku, your Fire Stick, your Apple TV, whatever your favorite streaming device is. Just search WRDW on there and give us a download. It is free, and it gives you all of our I-Team investigations, first alert forecasts, live newscasts, aerial Augusta, sports coverage. Everything that you're going to need is going to be up there on that website or on that streaming app. Also, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I'll show you how to do that real quick. Here we are on YouTube. Just search WRDW News 12. And it's this first one right here. And then you hit subscribe. We're actually live right now showing you how to do that. So if you do those 2 things, the YouTube channel is a little bit more condensed videos. So if you don't have 30 minutes to watch a newscast, the YouTube channel is a great way just to catch up quick. But yeah, we put everything up on there too. So just do those 2 things and you'll be caught up with everything you need to know going on in our community. That is all the time we've got now. We're about 5 minutes away from Morning Mix starting on the TV side of things. So why don't you hop over there and catch up with Zaina and Cliff as they bring you the latest news, weather, pop culture, everything going on. So we will see you back here after the mix, probably around 11 o'clock for some more News 12 Now. See you then.